you. Now, teaching vacancies in England have increased 20% this year, despite measures like salary hikes to try to boost recruitment.
And some schools are apparently considering early Friday finishes and more days off in a week for the teachers, I guess. But would these measures actually keep teachers from giving up?
Well, let's talk to parenting journalist Anette Kellow and English tutor and online teacher Beata Inskip. Morning to you both. Beata.
Good morning.
Can we start with you? Is this a good idea, giving teachers, in effect, more time off to try and help recruitment?
I think it might be a partial measure to try to alleviate the stress of the profession and how difficult it is to work in education at the moment. I think long term we need to fix the whole educational system in order to ensure that fewer teachers are leaving and we're able to recruit more teachers.
It's part of the issue here. So, teachers... My mum was a primary school teacher up until she retired, absolutely dedicated to the job. Are we lacking people like her and instead recruiting people who aren't seeing it as a vocation but just a job they can get?
I think actually we are absolutely recruiting those kinds of teachers, and because they're so devoted and compassionate, they're broken by the system because they're not able to support all the students that they want to with the compassion that they have, and that is the strain of the job at the moment.
Annette, do you have any sympathy with that?
Well, I think it's different strokes for different folks. I personally have a very good friend who's a teacher. I'm very jealous of his Instagram in the summer holidays because he seems to be going to all these wonderful countries every holiday. And whilst I do appreciate, yes, they do have extra marking, extra things they need to do, I think that comes under an infrastructure where the school should be allocating help maybe elsewhere with that. I don't think the answer is giving children, Friday afternoons off. I think that's crazy. I think children they thrive on being around their peers. So why do teachers want to cop out and have more time off?
Mm-hmm. That is a problem, Beata, that teachers always... Now, I have to say, the idea that teachers have these very long holidays, I know is absolute nonsense because of the amount of...
that's not the reality.
It's not that it might be that they're not in school necessarily, but the work never really ends. However, there is a public consciousness out there that says teachers have long holidays and having more time off isn't the right thing to do.
I know, absolutely. That's why we need to talk about it. And, it's not an individual teacher here or there who speaks about it. It's the whole profession. We always talk about how the day doesn't finish at 3 o'clock when the bell goes. When we have half terms, we're still working, we're still planning. In the evenings, when we come home, we're still planning for the following day, checking our emails. The job is largely unregulated, or it is regulated to a point, but it doesn't get done between 8 and 3 p.m, sadly. And those holidays that we do have, I have to say, a large portion of the time is spent doing more work.
Well, hang on a minute. Sorry. Schools break up at second week in July, yeah? And go back first week in September?
Yeah, 6 weeks.
That's a long holiday, isn't it? And you can't surely say that teachers spend all of the rest of July, all of August and a bit of September working.
Well, it depends, but I would say a lot of them will spend the 6 weeks working, not the whole 6 weeks. Depends on the teacher, I suppose. But should we not get time off?
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it still looks like a long holiday to a lot of people.
Oh, it definitely looks like it when I look at my friend's Instagram. But I also think we have to do a comparison as well to other careers. For example, the nurses, the junior doctors who are doing 12-hour shifts, they're run ragged. They're also in a similar predicament, but I think worse. I don't think they're getting 6 weeks off and lovely holidays. So I think and even in my career, I have to stay late. Sometimes I do work, it's unpaid, but I'm not getting paid by the hour. So we have to say... These are the kind of things you do have to do in careers. That is the reality of it.
Isn't there an issue here, Beata, that more infrastructure might help, but the danger with having an extra day off or even a half day on a Friday is that it may benefit teachers, but it's not going to benefit the pupils?
I don't think teachers actually need or want... Well, maybe they need, but they don't want an extra day.
Well, they'd have to plan for it, wouldn't they?
I think what we want is actually have a sustainable work pattern that we can follow on a regular basis without having and experiencing the burnout, where we feel we're living from one half term to the next one, and then when it comes along we find that we collapse, we need to decompress because we're not able to enjoy all that holiday that we get when no one's enjoying it because of the burnout that teachers are experiencing.
Maybe we don't understand that facing a class of, 30 plus kids, day in, day out, is really, well, as you say, gives you burnout. It must be so hard.
Yeah, well, if it's too hot, get out the kitchen, I'm afraid. I do think as well, the other aspect to think about with these Friday afternoons off sounds wonderful, but, what about the children that are behind? What about, my son, for example, he has to spend a lot of time in hospital because he has a condition, he has weekly treatment, so not that that's the teacher's fault, but I then want him to catch up all the time. What about those children that are behind? How are they then going to catch up if the teachers are going for Friday drinkies?
Annette.
I go home.
Sorry.
You're playing it a little bit hard there,
Sorry.
to be fair. All right, look, thank you both.
Thank you.
Good to see you both. And
The truth is, probably a lot of teachers go home to their own family and have to deal with their own family problems.
Their own family. Well, I have to
Their
say,
own
with my
kids.
mother, she was marking reports and marking work and writing reports till 9, 10 o'clock.
Wow.
Every night. And that was at primary school age. I think secondary school is probably that workload might be
That's what
slightly
you need
higher.
AI for.